Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to share 5 fun and easy high frequency word centers that are not only going to be engaging for your students, but they are also effective for teaching students new sight words. Now, I have done a few sight word videos in the past. Specifically, I have this one right here where I teach you how to teach sight words according to the science of reading. So a little bit of the research behind what a sight word really is and how we might want to teach it to our students so that they can best, retain that information. And then I have this video right here which dives a little bit more into the heart word method. So what we do when we are teaching students a high frequency word that is irregularly spelled. What we know now is that most of the sight word lists and high frequency word lists we've used in the past, most of those words are actually completely decodable. So the first tip I have in that video there is to look through the sight words you're supposed to teach your students and actually sort them by skill. As you go ahead and sort them by phonics skill, you can start to see which words are not spelled regularly according to the phonics patterns we've already learned. And when a word is irregularly spelled, we put a little heart over that phonics sound, the one that makes the irregular sound, so that way students only have to memorize the heart part of the word. If you need more information on that, check out that video right there, or even the first one up there. All that being said, in today's video, I want to focus on 5 independent centers that your students can use to help them practice those high frequency words. If you're ready to see what they are, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. Alright, center number 1 are some high frequency word worksheets. Now, I know that probably doesn't sound super appealing, but these aren't your regular worksheets, so let me show you what they look like. These are actually available in both the SJT Literacy Club and on TPT. Here's what the cover looks like on TPT, and what I actually did inside is I already took all of the Dolch pre-K, K, first, and second grade words, along with Fry's first 100 words, and I put them into its own scope and sequence. You can see that I did this here, and this is at the beginning of the product, because I already took all of those words and I sorted them by phonics skill that we would normally teach throughout the year. So you can see some of the short A words are can, am, at, ran, and had, and some of the heart words are going to be as and has because of that Z sound coming from that final S. Our students haven't learned that yet when they would go over this, so those S's would have a heart over it. Now, since I already went ahead and sorted these, I actually linked each word to its own sheet. That way you can quickly take a look and see what high frequency words you're working on and just click them to get brought to that worksheet. As for what the worksheets actually look like, here is an example with the word take. Now, all of the worksheets follow the same exact 5 steps. That way students can learn how to do this once and they can do it with all of the sight words they encounter throughout the year. So it just says, let's practice, and this word is take. Of course, they will have already been taught this word. So first step is they are going to say the word aloud 3 times, take, take, take. Then number 2 is they will actually go ahead and see how many sounds are in each word. The word is take, so there are 3 sounds, t, a, k, and they will color a dot in a box for each sound that they hear. Now, I have gone through all of these words and there are only the correct amount of sound boxes for each word. So this is going to help students so they don't get confused and think there's an extra sound or one less sound. The sound should match up to the boxes there. For step 3, it's actually covered in this photo, but what they'll do is they will write the letters for each sound they hear in the boxes. So T would be a T, A would have A, K would have K, and then an E would actually be on the outside of that box, because I always draw my E's on the outside since they don't make a sound. You might have them draw that E, inside the box or with a line next to it. However you want to do it is fine. And step 3 is also the part where if the word is a heart word and there is a heart sound in it, this is where they will go ahead and draw the heart over the sound. Step 4 is they will write the word 3 times on their own without sound boxes, take, take, take. And then number 5 is they will find and color the word take. And this is going to be a little bit of visual discrimination here, where they are going to see words that look similar to the high frequency word they're practicing. Now to show you what I mean when we're talking about the heart word part, here is the word has. So students will have learned this word already. They will go ahead, say it aloud 3 times, tap the 3 sounds, and here in step 3, they will still write the letters that represent each sound in the boxes, but they will put a heart over the S here because for them this would be a heart word. Then steps 4 and 5 continue along. So like I said, I already took all of those Dolce and Fry sight words, I sorted them out by skill, and I created a sheet just like those ones for each and every word. Now you might be wondering, okay, how do I know which words are heart words? And I actually took all of the heart words, so all of the irregularly spelled words, and I made them into teaching slides for you that look like this. So here is the word has. Always on the left it says let's learn a new word, and then it has a box for each sound in the word. And if it's an irregular sound, which all of these are going to be because they are heart words, it will show you where the heart is. I also included a little example sentence for you if you want to use that with your students. She has brown hair down at the bottom. So the regularly spelled words don't have a slide because you would just teach it the same way you would teach any other word you're teaching within your phonics lessons, but then the irregularly spelled words or the heart words, they do have a slide. It's as much of a teacher tool as it is a student tool, but it's great to just throw up there, see where the heart is, kind of discuss it, and then when they go and do those high frequency word worksheets, they know which words have a heart. I think I already mentioned this, but the slides are included in that worksheet unit, so I will go ahead and link that down in the description. All right, high frequency word center number 2 is a classic write the room. Now I love using write the rooms in the classroom for all sorts of different skills. We do read the room, write the room, solve the room, whatever we can do to get up, get moving, and practice and review some skills. This activity is pretty simple. You will pick 10 high frequency words that your students are reviewing. They should know most of them, and then you might want to throw in 1 or 2 that you're learning this week, and you will just simply cut them out and put them around the room. Now using the same exact scope and sequence I mentioned in activity number 1, I actually went ahead and made a bunch of high frequency word cards that you can cut up and put around the room, along with a recording sheet that looks like this. Now there'll be about 10 words spread out around the room, and you can have your students do this in small groups, so they might go there to a center and they know, okay, my turn for write the room. They grab a clipboard, they grab this recording sheet, and they start to look for words silently. That's another reason I like this game. I usually do it where it is either whispering or it's completely silent activity. They will simply find each word, and then there are 4 steps they need to do when they find a word. They need to read the word aloud, and I have these little symbols on the recording sheet to help remind them. They will read the word aloud, they will tap out the sounds, as. Then they will go ahead and write the words in the boxes, and just like we did on those worksheets, they're only going to write the letters that represent each sound in each box. So if it were a digraph word with sh, sh, that would go in 1 box, or a vowel team, etc. And then lastly, after they write it down, they have to determine if that word has a heart part and draw a heart over it. You'll notice on the cards like has and as shown here, I don't put the heart on there yet because again, this is a review activity. I want to see if they know which one of those are heart words. Write the room is a very simple activity, and once students understand the routine, you know, each week or 2 weeks, you can go ahead and plop in a few new words into that center. Like I said, if you're doing rotations or you're just sending students around, when they get there, they know that they can grab their recording sheet, grab their clipboard, and go find new high frequency words. The third center I want to share is one I've shared many times before, but usually for phonics skills, but it's going to work in the same way. It is called Flip It, Say It, Make It, Write It. Now I know the name is a little long and ridiculous, but that's okay. I like titles that tell students exactly what they're going to do. Now here is a picture of the activity I have used for phonics skills. Flip it, say it, make it, write it. They have that simple recording sheet right there. And then here, since it was a phonics pattern we're working on, I actually had pictures of the words. So here students are working on CVC patterns. So we have net, they would flip it, they have to say it aloud, net. They would have to make the word. Now this is where all the fun manipulatives can come into play. They can do it with these little letter beads on strings. They could make it out of Play-Doh. They can use magnet tiles. They can use connecting cubes to go ahead and make all those letters. However they do it is fine, as long as you have some sort of multi-sensory or tactile component. And then the last step is, of course, to write it. Now we can do the same exact activity using those word cards that I made for Write the Room, or any index cards that, you know, you're working on. These are just my examples, but of course you can just simply print out some cards or get some index cards and write the high frequency words you're practicing on these cards. Students will come over to the center and they will follow those steps using that recording sheet. And I actually have that exact recording sheet. I listed it as a quick little freebie, so I will link that down in the description for you to grab. That way, like I said, make your own little index cards and they can come over and start flipping. So as a reminder, they will flip the word they're working on, they will say it, run, they will make it, so they will either grab magnets, they will grab Play-Doh, whatever fun multisensory tactile thing you put there at that center, they can use. And this is also fun because you can switch it up each week or as often as you feel like your students need it to be, switched up to keep it engaging. So they'll go ahead and make the word and then they will write it down on the sheet. I love this type of simple activity because it has students decoding the words. It has them using multisensory activities, and it also has them encoding the words and practicing writing them. As we know from this first video about how to teach sight words according to the science of reading, we're really hitting on quite a few of the key features of teaching words successfully with this activity. The fourth high frequency word center I want to show you is called Pin It, Trace It. And this is a great one for multi-sensory learning. Now, when I did my Orton Gillingham training, we used, this is called a bumpy board. It's basically like a plastic screen. And we would have students write the words over the screen 3 times so they could practice feeling that multi-sensory bump underneath it. So they would say the word on and then they would write it. O-N, O-N, on, O-N, on, etc. Now, if you don't have access to a bumpy board, it can also be fun to use push pins. Now, of course, you'll want to do a lot of teaching around how to use a push pin safely with your students, and you'll also want something to do this push pin on. Here I have an old mouse pad that you can use. Mouse pads are easy, some sort of foam board, something that's not going to keep the dots in it though, because you want the dots to come back up. So basically students would get these papers right here, words that they are working on, they would say the word aloud, then they would form the word, but instead of writing it, they're first going to pin it on. And they would pin around the O, and then pin the N in the correct letter formation, the way they've learned to make these letters. So then they have O-N, on. Now I like to have them trace the bumps with their fingers, O-N. It gives a similar sensation to the bumpy board, so it's a little more multisensory and tactile for them. And then we take some crayons and we do this 3 times. So on, O-N. And I use 3 different colors. On, O-N. On, O-N. Each time I am saying the letters as I trace it, and again, tracing it with the little holes in it gives it an extra little multi-sensory bump. In the SJT Literacy Club, I have all the same words that I've been using in the previous centers, and I have them like this, so just the outline of the letters are shown, so students can actually go ahead and pin inside each one. But I'm pretty sure if you go ahead and Google some Pin It sight word activities, you'll find a bunch of these as well. Last but not least, high frequency word activity number 5 is sight word treasure hunt. Now, this is actually an activity I shared on Susan's Sunday Spotlight, aka what I used to call my YouTube channel, like 3.5 years ago, but this is an oldie and a goodie. It is so much fun. The game is essentially Battleship, and what you will do is you will have students set up their cards like this right here. Now you could do this with any size grid. Here I have a 3x4 grid, so I have 12 different words, and students will have the same words on each side. So I printed them out in 2 different colors. You don't have to, because essentially students will be facing one another and they will have 12 words on their side. You'll put up a file folder or some sort of divider in the middle, and then the other student will have the same 12 words on the other side set up in any order they please. The other card each student will get is their own little treasure chest. Now, looking at their grid, they will choose any sight word they want to hide their treasure chest under. The way this works is students will go back and forth choosing one high frequency word to say aloud. So if I were looking at this grid, I might say, "Is your treasure chest under the word again?" Now I would want to pick a word that does not have my treasure chest underneath it, because we are both going to look for the word again. We will pick it up and we will show it to each other to make sure that the words match. So again, okay, was your treasure chest under there? If the student says no, we both put that in a discard pile, and now it's player 2's turn. Player 2 looks on their side and they might say, is your treasure chest under by? And then again, we both pick up the word by, show it to each other, and the player that finds the other player's treasure chest first is the winner. Now, in the rare circumstance that both of you put it under the same word, you won't find out until the end, and that's a whole lot of fun. It's like a tie. Once students find each other's treasure chest, they go ahead, shuffle up the cards, and hide the treasure again. Now, when playing this with students, I usually play until somebody finds the other person's treasure chest 3 times. That way you're not just playing one time through, students are becoming more familiar with the words, and then they can, you know, shuffle them up, play again until somebody finds it 3 times. Now, I posted this product forever ago over on TPT. It looks like this right here, and it already includes all the Dolch words and all the fry words up to, I think, 300 in the list. So the fry 0 to 100, 100, 200, 200 to 300. I believe all of those are already in there, and I include some editable cards for you to go in and type your own. Sight word treasure hunt, of course, along with all the other activities, will also be linked down in the description below. And just a side note for anybody that might be new here, all of these phonics and literacy and heart word activities are of course included in the SJT Literacy Club, which is just a monthly membership for K-2 teachers to gain access to tons of literacy activities. Information about that will also be listed down in the description. So there you have 5 of my favorite high frequency word activities to use with your students. I would love to know if any of these are new or interesting to you, or if you have other centers that you love to use with your students, let me know down in the comments. As always, I hope you enjoyed my video. If so, please give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of every new video. See you in the next one. Bye.